All right, static functions, static variables, or static iterations, or identifiers, whatever you want to call it. Anything involving static, and I got this one kind of started here. Anything involving static, the positives are that they give you less keystrokes. The negatives are they can't be changed. Static means it's stoic, it can't be changed. It's just, this is the way it's going to be. So it's a good way when we move further along, we do things a little bit more intense. It's a good way to save yourself some keystrokes and what have you. It's a good way to impress people that you know how to use static functions or static variables. It's best to really, or static statements, it's best to really understand it first before you try to become a master of any kind of like object-oriented programming and static functions, whatever. And I think the biggest problem with just showing you stuff is if you don't see how it works, and we're going to get back to this when we start making our site, but if you don't see how it works, then it's hard to really understand why you would use it. So like in this case, I'm going to show you, if I were to say public static name, we have this constructor that we can then put in, and by the way, you can put, I didn't say you could, I just said I wouldn't, but you can put parameters or arguments in your constructor so that it could then, before you do anything else, it could save you some keystrokes. And before, like, you would only use your constructor to put things together first. It's kind of the equivalent of before you would take a walk, you want to make sure that you know what the temperature is, so you know what to wear, and you put on the right clothing. Like, once you do that, then you can functionally take a walk and be comfortable and whatever. Like, the constructor is not there to take a walk for you or take a walk with you. It's there to make sure that you're dressed appropriately and you did the right research in order for you to take a comfortable walk. So you're not going to call a constructor, you're not going to go something like this, say like, u equals new person, and then, or new person, and then from there go like you, or you constructor, or even this, and start putting stuff in there. Like, you wouldn't do that. It would give you this, oh, wait, put that in the wrong spot. It would give you a fatal error because that's not what you're doing. What you have to do is you have to put that in here because it needs to know before it starts doing its functionality, what exactly are we sending it? And what we're sending it is, we're sending it these parameters, these arguments in the constructor. That's how it becomes, like, it sort of deviates from your usual object-oriented program, but you can do that, but again, like, you can't call the constructor, so you wouldn't do like return that, like, you wouldn't do that here because you would need, it's just getting it prepared. That's why you would get these functions in there. Like, it's just preparing for you. I mean, you could try, we can do like, but again, you can't call the constructor. It's just there to prepare you for what you're going to do next. Now, what static then does, if I call this a static property or identifier, what that then does is it says, okay, now we don't have to name it or anything. We could just go echo person ... name. Now, we haven't identified this. We haven't made any new objects or whatever. We are blurting it out. We are saying this is your name. If you were to say, and you should be able to do this, me equals new person, and we put in there 44 and 6 feet tall, I should then be able to go echo me name. And it's still Roger. And we still get you moron and all that stuff. But then I could also say echo me name, and then I could go like this. Me get make age. And because we've already identified it, or we've already named it in the constructor, we would get Roger at 44. Now, my name is not Roger, obviously, so that's why this wouldn't work for me. Now, again, we don't really need to worry about that now. There are instances where you would want to use static identifiers. I'm just showing you how they work. As we move along, you'll see it better. But let's just put name back in here. And then we'll go like this. Name equals name. And then we could just put our names in there if we wanted. But there are also static functions. And one of the static functions that I already did was this one right here. And what that means is we can then say echo person bum bump is human, like that. And what we'll get here, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. Gotta put my name in there. CD. Make sure you have all, I really should go back and check my typing before I, so, oh, and I forgot that too. Sorry. Okay, there we go. And then, and you have the one, the true, that, you know, it is true. I just spit everywhere. It is true that we are human based off this. We return true. But because it's a static function, I forgot to tell you that I put in static, we can then call that here as just person, or we can say, because we've already created the object as me, we can say me and colon colon, and there you have it. Because it's static. Like I said, no matter what you do with your object, no matter what you do, the static will never change. So it doesn't matter if you just want to randomly throw out, hey, here's a person, and I'm using the static function of is human, or I'm taking the object I made from the person and asking is human. It doesn't make any difference because it's a static function. It's statically, or it will verily print out that it's true that you're a human because we put the static thing, just like with the static identifiers or properties. If we put static in there, no matter what you do or how you call it, if you call the class person itself, or you call an object of the class meaning me, no matter what you do, you can always call these static functions using that. Now, the double colon. Now, again, it doesn't seem like you would use it. It's one thing to make sense, but why would you use that? You know, like a word can make sense to you in your language, but why would you use that word? If you don't know why you would use that, it doesn't make sense. As to this point, the functionality of PHP and everything that we've used has made sense because we've built things with it. Right now, we've just built an object that we're not using for anything. It's just an object for the sake of making an object. But we will move on with more thorough object-oriented programming methods and what have you, that this will start, you'll start understanding why you would do this. And again, if you know what this looks like, you can then go to PHP Aura and you can download PHP Aura and you can use this framework and understand how all this stuff works to make it easier for you. See, like all this, like now you know what this means. I haven't shown you that yet. We haven't gotten to that point yet. We're going to get there. But now you know what all this stuff means. Now you can say, oh, shit, yeah. Now I know why I would use this. So now I know why we would use, let me see, can you show me one? Give me one. Like, I don't want to download it, but, you know, like. But you would understand as you move further along and look at other people's code and stuff, you would understand when it would be used. And it helps you, like all object-oriented programming, like a lot of the syntax I'm still trying to get down and everything, but the object-oriented programming, the aspects of it that I know are based off of me using frameworks in PHP and Python and Ruby and whatever, because all of it is just making objects out of classes, and that's all it is. So that when you start seeing it, like I know what it is and I know what we can use with it, but to learn object-oriented programming is a little bit difficult. It's not like learning selects and inserts and everything like that, which you can see it in front of your face. Like this we kind of have to get through the syntax and how all the different methods and whatever that we can use with these classes and objects before we can really get more into using them and creating our own, more so than just making a person. That's just the easiest, laziest way to get you to understand how to build the classes and stuff, okay? So when I come back, we are going to start using more protected and private methods, and we're going to come up with ways to make it easier to refer to all these things, here, here, and here. And then I think we'll try to start building something with classes here before we move on to more MySQL stuff, okay? So I will see you then.